Well, with childhood heroes like Captain America and Mel Blanc, and a list of credits that reads like a choose-your-own-adventure book, it's no wonder Tim Powers is one of the most versatile and sought-after voice actors and coaches in the business. With more years under his belt than a pair of well-loved Levi 501s, they still make those, right? Tim's voice can be heard on everything from video games. You can find him in Genshin Impact and Final Fantasy. Commercials. If you bought a mattress lately, odds are he convinced you. And medical narrations. He can pronounce those tongue twisters like a pro. And more genres than you can shake a script at. Yep, that's also him on Dateline NBC, Disney games on Alexa, and tons of dubbed shows and movies on Netflix. He also directs and teaches and provides one-on-one coaching sessions for voice actors of all levels. Tim Powers, voice actor, but his talent reaches way beyond the vocal booth. He's been a superhero to budding voice actors as a coach and mentor, and he treats his students like cherished members of a creative family, and that earned him the nickname Cap after his beloved childhood hero. His coaching isn't just about perfecting lines, it's about cultivating a warm, collaborative atmosphere where everyone's unique talents shine. Using the superpower of improvisation, with a nod to his days with the Groundlings and Upright Citizens Brigade, Tim has founded Timprov, an improv workshop weekly, pretty much, where voice actors embrace spontaneity with the finesse of seasoned performers, or at least they laugh trying. He may not leap tall buildings in a single bound that we know of, but Tim's unique blend of experience, versatility, authenticity, and sense of fun turns the art of voice acting into an exciting, memorable, laughter-filled adventure. Doggone it, I just like this guy. He's super nice guy. He is so involved in the community, and he is such a great coach. And I cannot wait to work with him soon because he is on my list. He is next for me because I want to stretch just a little bit more. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Tim Powers.
100%.
See, and that's why you can't trust the Vatican. I just wanted that to be the first thing that you recorded.
First thing, the opener.
What were they talking about? Who knows? And as you guys know, Casey's been on co-hosting a few times, and all Tim's been on when we had the other. We just get on here and talk. I don't rehearse. I don't practice. I don't send questions. It's just conversation. And
so the improv guy is the right guy.
I just like to call it the Improv Podcast every week. It'd be even better. When I first
are you trained? Troy? Have you taken improv classes?
I've worked with Scott Parkin a couple times. Yeah.
Okay.
I need to do more. But unfortunately, I have not had much room in my schedule. You know, I said earlier I pivoted. I went, and we were talking about not being on camera. I went into senior/mature/ spokesperson UGC creation the first of the year, not thinking it would be much to it, but it has taken over my business. It's a good 50% plus of what I do now, and
you're making a living,
and it's making good money.
Then who's going to argue?
Right. And I did it as a compliment to my VO business. It's VO, but you're on camera because you're a spokesperson. You're selling. You're selling and telling and whatever. But I thought for a long time, nobody wants to see some old fart on something like that. But I thought, wait a minute. My mother, who is 87, sits and watches this stuff all the time or sees it, and she's buying stuff like crazy. So I said, there's a huge market for it. It's crazy. But luckily, it was a good pivot. It's working, and on we go.
Nice.
On we go.
Beautiful. All right, cool. I will start wherever you want to start and just yes and you all the way through. if you got some time, Troy, what I would do is I would look into a local improv theater near you and take a 101 level class.
Yeah, I'll do that. Unfortunately, I am an hour from Nashville and Hendersonville, which that's not too bad, but they offer some stuff down that way, and I would like to do some live stuff. It's fun. I enjoy it.
I love Nashville.
Yeah, it's a great town. Nashville. It really is. It's changed a lot, but I think it's changed for the better. I think with all the influx of people coming in from the other areas, it's running all the redneck and hillbilly out, and we're just getting better and better. So why not?
Well, there's a little bit of redneck and hillbilly that just kind of keeps the Nashville charm. You know, I mean, it's the town that Jimmy Rogers built. Right. So you know, you can't really take that out of it. And if you do. Amber Alert. Speaking of rednecks and hillbillies.
Oh, no.
I didn't want that. I never want that.
Those always scare me.
Never happened. Let's stay a little bit on the subject of improv, because this is Tim Powers. Tim is known for Timprov, and as you heard at the top of the show, we talked about all the things he does, his accomplishments and all that. What I want to kind of intertwine that with not only just improv, but where I think so many people have a problem in voiceover, it takes them forever to figure out how to stop comparing themselves to others and be themselves. How does improv help you with that?
Improv helps you across the board with everything, frankly, in my opinion. But I am of a firm believer that comparing oneself with others is a futile thing to do, right? I can spend my entire life trying to sound like insert the name of voice actor here, but guess what? They already got one of those.
Right.
And so my job is to bring the Tim Powers to whatever I do. There's a marvelous interview that Bryan Cranston, Emmy Award-winning actor Bryan Cranston, did, and he was addressing a group of young actors, and he said, listen, you want to change your career trajectory? Stop approaching auditions like job interviews. Don't audition to get the job. Audition to bring the most authentic, most real interpretation of the script as you understand it to the performance, and hope that it jives with the producer's vision. If it doesn't, that's their loss. You know, and there's another audition coming in 10 minutes. I'll bet in the course of this podcast, I probably get 4 or 5 auditions from somebody, you know, through the course of the thing. They're like buses, man. There's another one coming. So, you know, I coach voice actors. We have a lot of mutual friends that I've coached. Some of them have been guests on the various and sundry Holden podcast enterprises. And my whole belief is it's more important to be natural and authentic than it is to be perfect.
Right. Very well.
Right?
Very well put.
And so saying, well, I don't sound like this guy, good. They already got one of those. What do you bring? Because what gets you the job is not the fact that you read the words in the right order. What's going to get you the job is not the fact that you have a nice voice. Literally, everybody in this industry has a nice voice. Big deal. That doesn't make you special, right? What sets you apart from everybody else, and I am speaking as a middle-aged white man with a resonant voice in the voiceover industry, where easily 2/3 of the industry is me on paper, respectfully, right? What gets me work, what gets you work, what gets all of our friends work is our level of connection. In fact, I was enlightened by this when I had a conversation with a major league casting director whose name I don't have the liberty to drop, but most people in the voiceover industry know who she is. And I said, we were at a convention, it's like VO Atlanta or something. And I said, look around this room. There's 1,000 people in this room, 700 of which are me on paper. We're going to all audition for the same tire commercial, the same breakfast cereal commercial, the same insurance, whatever it is. How do you choose the ones that sound to the client? She says, I choose the ones that sound the most connected. So, to answer your question in a typically Tim Powers verbose way, what improv does is it frees you up from the specter of perfection, because we are artists. And as artists, we are reflective of the life around us, the universe around us, and the life around us is not natural.
Right.
We are reflective of true life. All good art is reflective of real life. The best actors are the ones that are the most natural. The best painters, are the ones that are most reflective of how that artist experienced the world. The best musicians are the ones that are the most soulful.
Right.
I was explaining Bob Dylan to somebody the other day, and they're like, I don't get Bob Dylan. He can't sing. He's got a terrible voice. And I'm like, no, take a minute and listen to Blood on the Tracks. It's one of the most soulful, heart-wrenching, heartbreaking things you'd ever want to hear, right? Willie Nelson, same thing. Not the greatest singer of all time. No one's going to put him on the stage with the Metropolitan Opera. But the heart in everything is what does that. So what improv does is it teaches you to make real fast acting decisions really fast and draw upon your personal experiences so that your emotions are authentic. And that is acting 101. The first 3 chapters of Udo Hagen's Respect for Acting is understanding where you've been so that you can understand where you're going and drawing on your emotions, right? One of my agents in Canada likes to say, Tim, nobody cares that much about craft dinner. Right? Like if you get a commercial for macaroni and cheese, no one really cares that much about macaroni and cheese because the script isn't about macaroni and cheese. It's about empowering your 7-year-old daughter to learn to cook for herself. Right. It's about that comfort that you got when you were sick and your grandma made the blue box mac and cheese or whatever. There's something in there that you have to draw on. We as actors, and a lot of new actors forget about this, we as actors are conduits of emotion, not information. Right. And so, my hat is off for the folks who come from broadcasting or come from journalism where everything is proactively giving information. There's a slowdown on the 490 today. You're giving that information whether you want it or not. Flip that. And all of a sudden you've got to sound like you care, or you've got to sound connected to the person that you're talking to because you are acting. And the job really is acting, Troy. And if you think about what improv is, it's acting without a script. Meisner's definition of acting is behaving in a truthful manner under imagined circumstances. That's our job. We get to read scripts and we get to make squeaky voices and we get to play with all this cool microphone and stuff. But at the end of the day, the thing that gets us work is our ability to behave in a truthful manner under whatever imaginative circumstances we're in. And so what improv does is it puts you in sometimes the most ludicrous of imagined experiences. And sometimes you fail and sometimes you don't, but it builds that confidence, if the director goes, all right, you two are 2 demons in hell arguing over what to watch on television, you've got 3 seconds to make a choice about who your character is, what they want, what do they want from me, what do I want from them, what's keeping us from getting what we want from each other, how do I feel about this guy, what's going on around us? And you make all those choices and you commit to that reality. Same thing with everything else we do. I don't care if it's a medical narration, whatever. We're creating an environment and then sounding as if we're in that environment when we're actually in a blanket fort.
Right. Yeah, I think so many people lose touch with their childhood because I was one of those kids. Everything talked to each other. Every car talked to the other cars. Everything was it was a world of imagination and becoming those things, and it wasn't a thing of me I didn't grow up in an acting world or a theater world or anything like that. But
no, but you were acting
exactly.
then.
I revert back to that as a child sometimes and say, I'll even get copies sometime and I'll see that. I say, I remember when I was a kid, we would, I would do this and I could immerse myself into that copy because I could even turn back the clock on something like that. Anything to not read it. And that's what I beg people all the time. If you're coming into this thing, you're just going to read copy. It doesn't work that way. You're going to be in the pile of, I like to call it the pile of 80 because you hear it all the time from casting directors. The first so many words in the thing is introducing da-da-da-da-da, introducing da-da-da-da, and they hear it 80 times, and all of a sudden somebody goes, introducing, they kind of like, I don't really give a crap. They're something different. You got to stand out with something different, and you can do that in improv. What a door it will open to make you be different. It will. Absolutely.
Because you're making real, pure choices.
Yeah. Make a choice, even if it's wrong. Frickin' make a choice. Don't read it.
Strong but wrong, man. I mean, if you think about it, right? What's SAG scale for a radio commercial is like $5,000. Okay, no one's going to pay you $5,000 to read anything.
Right.
You know, the guy that here, dig this, man. The guy that is the voice of McDonald's, the Egg McMuffin, poached egg on a toasted English muffin. That guy, right? He's got that really cool voice. That cat is a member of the Royal Shakespeare Company.
There you go.
He makes a ton of money talking about this food. Why? Because McDonald's empire depends on an emotional connection with that awful food, right? McDonald's, I'm happy to work for you, but objectively, your food is not nutritious, and everybody knows it, right? But they're not selling the nutrition, they're selling the emotional connection. They're selling the time that I was 6 years old and sat across the table from my dad after a baseball game. They're, all the birthday parties that they conditioned us for, the comfort, the convenience, that's really what it's all about. If it were about reading, they'd get the guy that works the shake machine in Studio City to come in and just read it and give him lunch.
Right.
And because if you think about McDonald's, they don't pay more than 5 cents than they have to for anything. Real estate, like they would literally pay their staff less, but it's against the law. They pay this guy a ton of money because their industry depends on his connection. If it was just about reading, you get it.
I do. Casey gets it too. I know she does.
Oh, hi, Casey. You're here too.
Well, hi, I'm here. I'm just being real. I'm taking it all in. I'm soaking up everything. But what you said really, really stuck with me. It is about not being afraid to fail. And that's so hard, I think, for people who are coming out of that kind of broadcast world or, radio, but I think almost even more so TV and reporting, is you feel like you have to be perfect.
Sure.
And you have to, be serious, and just everything has to sound perfect and sound a certain way. And it's so hard to break out of that. And I think that's why improv scares me to death, but I think it's why, again, it's so important because, just not being afraid of making mistakes or not sounding just a certain way, and it's tough to break out of that mindset. It really is.
It is, but they are completely different muscles. Our job as voice actors is different than our jobs in radio or our jobs as journalists. It's respectfully, it's not acting. And I say that as a guy who does a PM Drive show in St. Louis every day. I still have those radio chops. Doobie Brothers coming up right after this word from the Waterbed Store, St. Louis's best rock, blah, 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 right? And that's one... that's one vertical, that's one little pocket in my Batman utility belt, but everything else is acting. And if you start approaching your voiceover work as acting, stop calling yourself a voiceover artist. For goodness sake, stop calling yourself a voiceover artist. There's no such thing as a voiceover artist. You're a voice actor, right? Small V, capital A. Your job is to act. Right? No one calls Tom Hanks a movie artist.
Right.
Okay? Right. Voiceover is what you provide. And if you start approaching this as an actor, I've worked with students who are like, well, I want to get into voiceover, but I don't want to be an actor. And I'm like, dude, sell me your stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's the job.
Yeah, let me buy you out before you disappoint yourself.
Seriously, because, with respect to when you're on camera and you're talking about, the new Cane's opening in Pittsford or whatever, you're not, to a degree, you're acting in the extent that you don't really care, but it's not the same. You're proactively giving that information. There is, however, a psychological thing that happens because for those of us who came up in radio and journalism and broadcast and stuff like that, our muscle memory is when we get behind the microphone and we see that red light, our muscle memory is suddenly to come on and do this guy and, all of a sudden become, hip and professional and stuff like that. But it is more important to be natural and authentic than it is to be perfect, especially in acting, because there is no perfect. People don't speak using complete sentences.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Right.
And so, or perfect, they don't speak using perfectly punctuated sentences. Excuse me, may I have a pen? No one says that. But that's how it looks on
Right.
paper. You know? And you can take the most announcery script in the world and make it sound conversational if you put it in context.
And I was
But that's the thing. That's the thing that you need to learn is how do you do your script analysis and put yourself in a scene? That's the most important thing you need to learn before you even buy a microphone.
yeah.
Learn how to build a scene.
Yep.
And if you want to cannonball into building scenes fast, then improv is the thing for you.
It was a game changer for me because I kept trying to take some things from other coaches, and everybody has their methods, and it's a page or a page and a half, all this stuff, how you're looking at the copy, and you're doing this, and doing this. And I thought, God, this is going to take forever. And the more I did it, the more I thought, something's missing. How can other people quickly find where they're going with this and audition quickly and move through these things where this is taking way too long? And that was when I first went out and did the first improv clinic, and this was during COVID. Everything was being done online, of course. And it was awesome because I came out of that going, this is going to teach me to change gears immediately and understand why, not only change, but understand why I changed and what I changed to and become that quickly. And I was so climbing a mountain there for a while. It was like copy would come in and I'm like making notes and trying to do it. I thought, why is this so hard? This shouldn't be this hard. Improv took away the hard for me. And I still need way more. And I know that. But it did give me the thing to go, all right, what version of me? And, very quickly to put myself into two very distinct takes because of using the approach from the improv. Before, what I would do is play my two takes back to back or stack them, and they were almost exactly alike every freaking time. But improv stopped that for me.
Because you can change an element of your scene, right? If you change who you're talking to, it changes the scene. If you change the mood of the person that you're talking to, it changes the scene.
I have even flipped it to where I thought, it was something about, and I'm just going to come up with something, Country Bob's Restaurant. And I thought, gosh, my brother-in-law, Frankie, he loves to go eat places like that. So I'm going to tell Frankie about this great place. And the second take, I decided, wait a minute, Frankie's the one that loves it so much. Why can't Frankie tell me about it? And it totally changed that read, and that was the one that booked. And that's not the name of the thing that booked. But that's what booked when I decided to be him instead of me, take it from his point of view. That easily. Boom.
Because you were acting.
Yeah.
You were acting.
Yep, exactly.
Please study acting. The difference between what we do in our booths and what a stage actor does or a TV actor or a movie actor does is, write this down, everybody, nothing. The exact same training that you need to be a stage actor, a screen actor, win an Oscar, win an Emmy, win a Tony, is the exact same training you need to be a voice actor. It's just no one gets to see your beautiful face. And in my case, bonus for everybody. Really, really nice.
Yeah, and we don't get the costumes, the wardrobes, the props, and the surrounding. But you have to put yourself in that, and it's not that hard. It's not that hard.
No. Well, it's not once you figure it out.
Exactly.
Right? But if you don't know what you're doing, it's impossible. And you're like, well, I guess I need to sound happy about tires. Why? Why are you happy about tires? Why? Who cares? Well, is it really about tires, or is it about the safety of your family? Is it about spending an extra $300, so that you don't have a blowout in the freeway and flip over and kill yourself? I don't know. Figure that stuff out. That's what the pros do, guys.
Yep.
When you start comparing and there's a ton of jealousy and they're like, well, so and so's getting all the work. So and so paid his dues and figured out how to perform the script. Mm-hmm. There's no magic. And here's the thing. There's no glass ceiling, man. Like, no one's holding you back. Right. There is always room for talent. Voice acting is the great democracy because my audition holds the same water as Billy West's audition.
Yeah, I heard a casting director the other day on a podcast say, I love hearing new voices. I can't wait to hear new voices. Sometimes I get tired of getting the same 25 people submitted for everything. I'd like to hear something new and something different that stands out. And that's a shame in some ways because that tells us we got agents and agencies, maybe some, that are sending the same people and not letting some others through. But that's okay. Your auditions may suck, and that's why it's not just based on who they are and the people's name. You have got to stand out, and this will help you stand out. It's just right. Not freaking easy, and we're seeing that too, even in our little VO Live Facebook group. So many people. I've been at this 3 or 4 or 5 years, and I'm putting my booth up for sale, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And every now and then I just have the thing to private message and say, who all did you train with? What effort did you put into that side of it? And you come to find out, not very much. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Great. So, I mean, there's some good ones out there. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But, I had a student ask me one time, he's like, well, why should I hire you or any other coach when there's all these resources and videos? And it was during the Olympics. And I said, dude, are you watching the Olympics? He said, yeah. I said, how many of those gymnasts do you think learned to do the pommel horse out of a book? And he went, oh, okay, here's my money.
Exactly.
Yep. That was good.
Yeah, I always use the analogy of, the dentist or the doctor. I don't want a first-year med student doing a heart transplant on me. No way. I want somebody who's trained and knows what they're doing. And that comes out in the auditions and everything you do. And if you're not training and doing all that stuff, and Tim, our good buddy Charles Coates, my gosh, Charles was a very
happy birthday, Charles.
About that time, yeah. Charles he decided to become an investor because I know early on I would say stuff about, I was coaching with some people and Charles was like, man, I need to. But he said, boy, my checking account starts going down, I get nervous. And your first few years, it can be that way. I understand it. But when he pulled that trigger and said, no, I'm going to go to this person and then this person, and I'm going to go to this and I'm going to do this. And he skyrocketed. I mean, he's killing it now. And I'm very, very proud of him. And it does make a difference. But we know, as many of us started 5 years ago, that there is a large amount of people that started with us and they're gone. I mean, because of that, they didn't either invest in coaching or invest in the right things, and you have to.
Well, there's a messaging out there put forth by people with their own specific agenda that voiceover is an easy way to make a lot of money in your pajamas, and that all you need is equipment. And especially during the pandemic, right? Literally, I don't know if you know this, Troy, but during the first few weeks of the pandemic, there was literally a microphone shortage on Amazon.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because every Yahoo in the world thought that they could buy a USB microphone and just clean up. And what they found was kind of difficult. And there's a phrase that I use a lot, and maybe it'll resonate if anyone listening is one of those folks who's like, I'm not booking and I got a 416. I mean, come on, what do you want? So, a good microphone no more makes you a voice actor than a good guitar makes you Eric Clapton.
Yeah. Amen.
Okay. And by the way, Troy, that is a lovely 416 that you have. I'm in no way making fun of your 416. It's a beautiful microphone. Yeah. But to your credit, you learned how to use the damn thing.
Yeah, I did. Before I got the 416, I wanted to be sure I could earn it. To me, it was like a lightsaber. I said, I can't be a Jedi without a lightsaber, but I got to be trained to be a Jedi. And,
Right. No one gets their lightsaber before they go to Dagobah.
Exactly. And then I heard the other day Kevin Kilpatrick talking about now there's an 80-60. And it's supposedly less sibilance than the 416. And there was a time not long ago I would have went, I got to get that. Now I'm like, no, I'm good. Mine sounds great. I'm booking with this. I don't need anything else. I don't want it.
Dude, this is a Warm Audio 47 Junior.
Yep.
Right? It's not an expensive mic, but I love it. and it gets me work. Ultimately, nobody cares
they don't
what
care.
microphone
They
you
don't
have.
care. If they care, something's wrong, my opinion.
There is no microphone out there that adds talent.
Right.
There's no software that adds talent. There's no computer that adds talent. There's no audio interface that adds talent. So, if you're putting garbage in, it's just going to be polished garbage. Now, having said that, new voice actors, your first attempts at this are going to suck. That's okay. Stay at it. I use the analogy, Troy, of kissing a girl, right? The first time you kiss a girl, it's awkward. It's weird. You don't know what you're doing. Like, you've been reading about it your entire life. It sounds like a great thing. You really want to do it. And then it happens and you're like, I have no idea what I just did. I hope it was okay. Right? You kiss a few girls. You figure out what you're doing. You get to be our age. Dude, you know what you're doing. But the first time you do it, it's awkward. It's weird.
Yes, absolutely.
It's fun. It's great. But just like, don't be afraid to kiss a few girls.
I always
or whoever you kiss. I don't care. It's none of my business.
Raising a few boys, I go back to and all of mine. I played baseball, so I always hope mine would play baseball. And to watch someone learn to throw a ball is so painful. Because they try to throw it and it goes behind them because they don't hold it properly. And then they don't learn to extend, and then after a while they just pick stuff up and zoom. I mean, but it took a long time to learn that and figure out the motions, the muscle memory, everything that went with it. And this is totally similar in some ways. It really is.
Everybody sucks at T-ball.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Everybody sucks at T-ball.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was I never got to play T-ball. We were living in Atlanta, and they did not allow it. It was underhand coach pitch. And I know here where I live now, they start them with T-ball, then they go to the underhand coach pitch. But we had to start with that, which was, that was pretty good because it I don't know, I enjoyed it. I miss baseball. I miss it. I had a knee injury in high school. I had a scholarship to go to college and play baseball and got a knee injury and all that got taken away. And I got mad at the game. Isn't that crazy? I got so mad at the game because that was taken away and I wouldn't watch it. I wouldn't have anything to do with it. And this was back when they do knee surgery on you, send you home. They didn't do physical therapy. They'd just tell you to walk on it and exercise. You'll be fine. Wow. So I tried to walk on in college. And I had gained about 30 pounds. Finally got to where I felt like, I think I can do this. The last time I had seen a pitcher was my junior year in high school. So I go out there and I think, I don't know, maybe I can hit the ball, maybe I can't. So they take all the walk-ons and put them in one dugout, and we're going to play the varsity. And this is like a Division I school. So they said, where do you normally play? Well, I had caught all my life, and I thought, I can't catch anymore. My knee's going to be bad. I said, right field, whatever. So I played right field, had one ball hit out my way, got it up, got it in the second, no problem. Came in, they said, you're going to hit third. I said, okay. So I got up there, got ready.
You hit third?
I was going to be third, so here comes pitch. Here comes the first pitch. Boom. I'm like, what the hell was that? I said, wait a minute. I stepped back out of the box. I said, you hit the ball great your whole life. This is just faster. Watch the ball, time it, hit the ball. Step back in, here comes the next pitch. I cracked it, right center field. It's going up. I think it's gone. No, it comes down right on the warning track. I turned the bag at first to go to second, and that right knee that I had surgery on, hyperextended, and down I went. I crawled back to first base, stood up, looked at the coach, and I said, get a pinch runner, I'm going home. And that was the last time I played. So anyway, but I'm going to tell you, from 6 years old up until 16, I had a blast. I mean, I got to play on tournament teams. I love the sport. It built me quite well as a person, the character, the teamwork. Right. And it was more than just playing baseball. I love the friendships and all of that. But that's my sad story from my childhood. So. But it was,
But I think you're right. What you say,
It did
shape who
it
you
did
are.
it really
I think it
did.
probably did, and it
And
still
it
does
did. It
today.
still
You
made
draw
me,
on some
want
of
to
that.
always be
Yeah.
a team player. Always want to help others and do things like that. I went from baseball into music and started playing country music. Played in bands. Played around Nashville. Had a songwriting deal for a while. Had a lot of stuff with that, but it never did really professionalize out. And I was trying to work on top of that. Then I started having kids, and I had to get serious about all that. I always wanted to be in either broadcasting or something. And I went for 20-something years working in the automotive industry thinking I'll never get to do my dream. And then COVID hit, and I'm doing the videos for Return to Work, and they said, you could make money doing this. You could probably make a living at it. And I'm like, really? So I started digging in like everybody else through YouTube. But once I started doing that and I started picking up a little work and a little money, every penny went into coaching. Every bit of it. I went to work. I started with workshops, and I started with some people I shouldn't have, but I had to learn like others. And then I got better advice. You probably ought to coach with somebody like this.
You just kissed the wrong girl.
Yeah,
starting out,
exactly. So then I found the right people and started making it happen. And look at this. I got to say, and this, by gosh knows, is not any bragging, but if you'll work hard enough at it, maybe you can speak at a conference like I'll get to do here in August.
Mazel tov. I love that.
Happen.
I can't wait to see what you do.
Happen.
One of the things that I heard in your story that I kind of want to give back to you is that you approach your voiceover career very appropriately the way you approached your career as an athlete, because those guys who walk in with the bat on their shoulder thinking they're the hottest thing in the world, and then can't back it up.
Right.
Or the kids who come in and go, how hard can this be? Look at these idiots. Right. And they never did the drills. Right. They never did, they never did the fielding. They never did the pivot turns. They never did they were never in a batting cage, for days. They never got up at 5 a.m. just to run first base sprints. You did that, and you approach your voice acting like that, which is why you're doing pro level work now.
Yeah, you gotta discipline yourself. You have to. You really have to do that. And for me, baseball was an incredible start to that, and it was not just on that side of it. On the other side, I would see the kid that his parent pushed him out there to play. He really didn't want to play, but they had to put them in, the rules. They had to play 2 innings or whatever it was per game or whatever they used to do in some leagues. So if they lived anywhere near me in the neighborhood, I would hey, come over to the house and I'll help you. Come on over here. I'll help you not be afraid of the fly balls, And unfortunately, there were times they were trying to catch a fly ball and they'd hit them right in the teeth or something. And I'm sorry, man. They're like, it's okay. At least you're trying to help me. So
metaphorically, we take a fastball to the teeth every day.
All the time.
Yes, 100%.
It's crazy. But and that's the thing. A lot of people say, I don't have any experience, whatever. Yes, you do. You have life. You have all these years before you got into voiceover that you need to start applying that to what you're doing and start looking back at that. There's many times I'll get something in and I'll think, I went through this thing at work one time, or I went through this doing this one time, and it applies to that copy. And I need to remember that time and put myself back in that place and live that again and, be that version of me in this copy. And
you're drawing on the authenticity of your experience to mirror an imagined reality. Yes. That's all we do. My dad's been dead for 5 years, and I get to talk to him every day in this job because I know how he feels about being challenged with technology, or how he reacted when I screwed up, or whatever. But the reality of that scene, I can still see his hazel eyes looking back at me going, oh, are we going to do this? And I have to address him in that scene. One of my biggest clients right now, I got because I built a scene where I talked to my daughter, who's 32 right now, but I talked to her when she was 6 and she was worried about her cat. right? And the authenticity of just being there and talking to this sweet little girl about how, hey, listen, Lucky's going to be okay. I'm not a veterinarian. I don't know what's going on, but we're going to get the right people to figure this out. We're going to take care of Lucky, and he knows you love him, blah, 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 blah. And dude, I'm doing quite well on just that account alone.
Yeah.
Because you draw on the truth of that experience.
Right on.
That is, that is method acting. That is the definition of method acting. If you study Meisner, if you study Stella Adler, if you study Uta Hagen, that's the same people who taught Marlon Brando how to act, the same people who taught Meryl Streep how to act. Their books are out there, y'all.
Yep.
Apply what they've taught you and learn how to act.
Acting.
Yes.
Okay?
Acting 101.
Also, by the way, if you get into voice acting for fame, you're an idiot.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Because there are no famous voice actors. I mean, there's fanning, but if you go to a party, right? Go to a typical cocktail party in your neighborhood or a backyard barbecue, and just grab some random Yahoo and go, "Hey, name 3 voice actors."
Right.
The first one that they will name has been dead for 35 years. And then they'll maybe guess at 2 more, right? There is no fame in this industry. This is a job.
It is.
A friend of mine in Los Angeles calls us the blue collar of theater because we're slogging it out day after day after day, and there's no glamour to this.
No.
Right? If you're doing this so that you can sit behind a table at a Comic-Con and have, people fan over you, okay.
Not working for me.
That's your business, but that's not gonna pay your mortgage.
I try to avoid even bringing it up if I'm somewhere socially, because people always say, well, "What do you do?" I'm retired from the automotive industry. Usually, because if I tell them I'm a voice actor, what's the first thing out of their mouth? What have I heard you on?
Oh, do your voice.
What have
do
I
your
heard
thing.
Yes.
What characters?
Voices,
what characters do you
and
do
what
in
have I heard
cartoons? I don't. I do some video games here and there. Yeah, I did an audio drama this morning. I was a captain of some ship or something. But unless you happen to catch me on a regional radio thing or something, and they're not going to remember that they heard you or not. Not likely. So I tried a lot of times. I just try to avoid it. A lot of them are like, "Oh, that's really cool," and some people do kind of fanboy over it. But most people, they're just like, all they want to know is, "What have I heard you on?" And then when you can't name 3 or 4 things, they just kind of turn around and walk off. They're like, "Yeah, whatever."
The other response that I get, Troy, is, "Oh, I've always wanted to do that. Will you teach me how to do it?"
Yes.
Or I tried to do that once. And the bitterness that's in that one single sentence. "Oh, I tried to do that once." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. Who was your acting coach?" No. I just tried to do it. I'm like, okay.
Cool. Just last week, we have a like a lot of people do, a bug service, and the guy sprays. Well, they don't come in the house that often. And the last guy that was here, he didn't ask any questions. I mean, you walk into this bedroom, there's a 6x6 focal booth in here. There's a green screen area over here for stuff. There's a editing. I mean, it looks like a pretty nice, it doesn't look like the rest of the house. It, lit up, pretty nice little area. Well, this guy walks in, he goes, "You must be a voice actor." And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." He goes, "Well, everybody always tells me I've got a great voice and maybe I should get into it." And I'm like, "Oh, here comes that conversation." So
knock yourself out, Charlie.
Yeah, and I told him, I said, I've been hacking away at this for 5 years, and I get up, there are still some weeks where I go, "Man, I don't know if I'm going to make it or not." You get worried sometime, but then, something will happen, and away you'll go again, and it's the wavy ride up and down, and it is what it is.
I had somebody say that to me once at a party. I got a good voice. People tell me I should do this. I got a great voice, and I had been a little overserved at that party, and was a little surly. And I went, "What? You got a great voice? Where have you been? Where? Oh my God! You've got a great voice. Nobody in the voiceover industry has a great voice. Why are you holding out?"
Yeah, right.
Jerk.
We've been waiting for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've got your golden ticket right here.
Here. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, wait till the guys at The Simpsons find out about this. You'll be doing the whole show all by yourself.
Yeah.
Great
Now,
voice. Oh,
Tim,
thank
Tim,
God.
when you were on before, you told, and I hate to ask you to repeat a story, it was a different podcast. You kind of told a story about how marriage and your wife and all kind of changed some things for you.
Oh.
And I really enjoyed that story.
I'll have to remember the details about that because
if that's what I was trying to do was as I was asking that, I think it was like maybe the way it kind of settled things down for you, maybe, or something like that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, the concept of improvisation, right? First of all, if you've ever met Kelly, she is unequivocally the love of my life. Like I am lucky enough to have found true love, and she is a force of nature. She is absolutely radiant and one of the strongest, most powerful, thoughtful, intelligent people I've ever met. And I am lucky that she finds a caveman like me even remotely worth her time.
I resemble those remarks.
She is, well, first of all, she's a classically trained actor. Okay, she studied theater and Shakespeare, and she's got a master's degree. Her professor has an Oscar. She is, classically trained, marvelous actor. And one of the reasons that our marriage is as strong as it is, and I readily admit I am a complicated human being to be partnered with, is we approach it as one long improv scene. Now, what do I mean by that? When you talk to outsiders about improv, they all know the two words that every improviser knows, right? Yes, and. Right? And what that means is you have no control over the data that comes to you. You have no control over what happens, politics, time, society, income, weather, happenstance. You have no control over those things. You have no control how other people will treat you and talk to you. Yes means you agree that those things happen, period. You accept that information and you pivot. You add to that information. So a microcosm of this is the concept of yes and enhancing a marital relationship. She can come home on a Friday afternoon and say, Tim, we're going to go visit my mom, right? My job is to go, yes, and I'm bringing a good book, right? That goes a lot easier than the absolute opposite thing, because the opposite of yes and is no, but. So she says, Tim, we're going to go visit my mother this weekend. I say, no, but you have a great time. Now, what advances the scene? What advances the partnership? What advances the relationship? Because the minute I go, no, a barrier goes up. Mm-hmm. And we can't go anywhere from there. But if I am flexible, agreeable, adaptable, malleable, find my own way through circumstances that are out of my control, we continue the partnership. And she does the same thing for me. And that yes and, if you really get into the concept of yes and as an improviser, as an actor, it becomes, not to be blasphemous, but somewhat spiritual. And it changes the direction of your entire life. Mm-hmm. It changed the direction of my life at 30 when I started taking these classes. Mm-hmm. And that was 27 years ago.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You just start seeing the world differently, and it made me a better professional. It made me a better person. It made me a better father, made me a better husband, made me a better coach, made me a better member of the community, simply because I wasn't oppositional to the things going on around me. I may not adore everything that happens, but I release control over it.
Great points. Love that. Love that. I love hearing any man talk about his wife in that way. I just know so many people who are like, well, she this and she doesn't like me doing this, and I'm like, I lived through that for a long, long time. This last and final marriage for me, it's 13, 14 years ago. And we both had similar pasts We both had spouses that were, dare I say, I don't know. I don't want to put the wrong word. They had conditions that made them the way they were. They couldn't help it. You take narcissism and other things that go on, and then you become, if you're a very giving person, you become very subservient to it, trying to please them, where you think that will go away or it'll be okay and we'll get through this, but they never do. It doesn't matter what you do. There is a thing called borderline personality disorder, if anybody knows much about that. And
I am very familiar with borderline personality disorder.
You are always living in the gray. There is no yes and there's no. It's always in the gray. You are never right. You are a hero one day and a dog the next. And it is the most craziest roller coaster ride ever, because they have a fear of being abandoned. But the opposite thing is they push people away. And I'm like, well, if you have a fear of abandonment, why do you push everybody away? And I read book after book after book, and I tried for years and years and years. But when Amy and I got together, her personality, luckily she wasn't ruined after what she'd went through, and luckily I wasn't either. And we just became kind of exactly what you said. Two people being very agreeable to always want to carry on and make each other happy and work together and make it work, but not fake it work,
Dude, it's the same dynamic between a pitcher and a first baseman. You like the things that you learn as a kid playing sports apply to your real life. And so many people are so ego driven about me and me and me. And now it's fashionable to call that narcissism. It's just flat out selfish, unevolved, immaturity.
Yeah.
And the challenge for guys like you and me who came into our marriages as fully formed adults, we already had our habits and our bags of
That's okay. It's a podcast. They can come.
Okay. I don't know, you guys. You got to find a way to navigate that. And that yes and allowed us to kind of deal with each other's complexities. Does she love everything about me? No, of course not. I'm an animal. I'm a caveman. I'm moody. Because you're human.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes I got spaghetti sauce on my shirt. Sometimes, whatever. Stuff happens. Do I love every single thing about her? Well, yes, actually I do. But, navigating and being able to work in that partnership, that yes and, is cool. And that brings us back to voiceover. Because, y'all, if you are ego-driven in your career, it's going to hinder you. You, as a voice actor, are a cog in a machine. You are not the star of this commercial. People are not tuning in to hear you talk about Hondas. Nope, nobody cares. You are a vehicle to convey that information, to put Honda or Campbell's Soup or Purina in human drag so that it is relatable. And a lot of times you are the last thing considered and so replaceable. So replaceable. So your job then is to be the best actor that you can be. However you get there, it doesn't matter. There are many paths to being a wonderful actor, and not everyone is right for the same path. But as long as you're developing an authentic performance and you're delivering, who cares how you got there? Also, don't be a schmuck.
Gosh, yes.
Right? Yeah. Don't be a schmuck because it ain't about you. Right? Your job is to frankly, the way I approach it, my job is to make my director look good.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
My job is to make my producer look good. Like he hired me, I'm going to do everything I can to make him look good. The last thing I want is for the client to call my producer and go, "Why'd you hire this clown?" Because let me tell you, I mean, Troy, you could take my job in a heartbeat. All of our friends, I got to stay at the top of my game because there's people like Charles.
Right, exactly. And we say all the time, Charles gets stuff all up here where I am, and I get all the stuff in Texas where he's at. And he's just like, that's fine. We stay in our areas. You take mine, I'll take yours, whatever it takes. But
whatever, there's an infinite pie.
Yeah,
if you're covering your nut, who cares?
It's everywhere. So much fun. Yeah, he's such a good guy. We're actually getting together, I think, next Monday, he and I and Jake, to have we try about once a quarter to have a reunion type thing where we do a podcast.
Aww.
So we miss doing it, but we all got, we had so many life changes back last year, and then Charles was always busy, and he does a lot of live sessions. I don't do as many as he does by a long way. A lot of my work just comes by email. I got regular clients, a lot of regular stuff, which is great. Yeah,
great.
But Jake is same way. His stuff is erratic like that. But it was like herding chickens. I never could get all three of them together. I'd say, all right, let's just make it every Monday at 9 a.m. because Jake didn't do his other job on Mondays. And it was like, okay, we'll do Mondays at 9. Well, about 8:45, here'd come the email from one of the three, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. It became stressful. And we loved doing the podcast, but it was just like I said, herding chickens. You couldn't make it work.
It is refreshing to know that you guys are still good friends.
Oh gosh,
right?
yes. We talk all the time. Every day we talk.
I love the work that I do. Like, I love the job. I love performing the job. I love everything that comes along. But my favorite part of this industry is the community.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I love that I can run into you and Charles in Dallas, and we can have a cold one and crack jokes and stuff like that. Some of my best friends I've ever met are in this industry, and just the coolest, most accepting, fun bunch of folks.
Yeah.
And it is a rarity among the entertainment industry, right?
It is. Very
Journalists will push each other in front of a bus for a job, you know.
Yes, they will.
Comedians will do everything they can to undercut the next guy to get, 30 more seconds of stage time. Stage actors notoriously pushing each other out of the shot. The diminishing the ego is a whole episode, right? But it's what's going to push you ahead.
Yeah.
It's what's going to push you ahead, because the minute you start thinking you're more important than anybody else, you're sunk.
Yeah, I agree. Tim, it's always awesome to talk to you. Somebody that is real, and and it's not to say other people we interview aren't, but it's just like I just feel like I've known you for years and years and years, and I always appreciate that. There's a lot of people in the industry that way, and I cannot wait to see you in Dallas. I know so many awesome friends are going to be there, and this is my second year to present down there. I'm excited. I got asked to come back, and I look forward to it, because those that have gone to VO Atlanta and have not gone to One Voice, it is the same but different. It is the same camaraderie, but it feels less chaotic and less crowded and less rushed. And if you want to go to your first conference, but you want it to be something viable and large enough to go and enjoy, I highly recommend it. Especially if it's close enough to where you can get there, and the ticket's a little less, and like I said, it's a little less crowded, less people, smaller venue, easier to find your meeting rooms because they're all kind of in one little area. But I want to encourage everybody, as we've heard about improv and coaching and things, as I've been doing for years. This is a tough business. I've had more business consults over the last 2 years of people saying, I'm just not getting a foothold. I don't understand. And when I start asking the questions, they do not have the training. You have got to invest. You have got to get the coaching. You need to go to the local. Yes, go see Tim. Go, and as he recommended to me early in the podcast, go to a local thing. Go to some community acting classes. Do anything to find out if you can delve into this and does it really work for you. Don't go into this thinking, I'm just going to read copy and speak and my voice sounds so wonderful, like silk gravy, whatever,
good
country gravy. Don't do that,
If I may underscore one quick resource that not a lot of people know about, Troy, the World Voices Organization, WOVO, is a marvelous social organization that is made up of actors helping other voice actors get ahead. It is a not-for-profit organization. No one is there to sell anything. No one is there to really make any money. It is really just actors helping actors. And if you're struggling with technology, if you're struggling with performance, if you're struggling with imposter syndrome, whatever, there are members of this organization specifically there around the world to help. So please, if this is something that is of interest to you, I would like to encourage you to join WOVO. The membership fee is nominal, but you get access to some of the most wonderful resources available. It's just Google World Voices Organization, and you will find all that stuff. Can you put a link in the show notes?
And the new guy in charge is the father of our country, correct?
Yes, George Washington III, one of my dearest friends, and a very talented voice actor who has who will be getting a brand new video game demo in about 3 days because I produced it, and it's really good.
Cool.
He's the president. I'm on the board. There's some really cool people on the board, and all we want to do is help actors get ahead. And there's all kinds of virtual resources. So if you can't get to your Dallases or your Atlantas or your Sovas or insert industry event here, it's all virtual.
Yeah. That's great. Love it.
That's awesome.
WOVO is. So WOVO is a wonderful organization, and hopefully some of you will look into that. And the thing is, you don't hear about it as much, so that's why we're telling you right now. You need to hear about it, and I for one, probably should look into it myself. I'd love to be a part. I'd love to be a part. And again, thanks, Casey, for joining us today. Appreciate you being with us as always. And we'll start looking out in the future and what I got coming up later, and we'll get you back. And it looks like maybe coming up after this next week, it's going to be the another VO podcast reunion with Charles Coates and Jake Sanders. That's coming up next week. And then we also, I think the week after that, J. Rodney Turner is back, and I'm not sure who the guest is. I don't have it here in front of me, so looking forward to that as well. I want to thank everybody for joining us. On behalf of Jonathan Grant and VO Inbox, our sole sponsor that we're so glad to have, we will catch everyone the next time around on the VO Life.
And that's another episode of the VO Life. Thanks for dropping in and hanging on. The VO Life was brought to you by voinbox.com.
The marketing tool that gives you back something others don't. Make an investment in your marketing that not only cultivates clients, but gives you back time.
If you are a professional voice actor and you need to up your direct email marketing game, VO Inbox might be for you.
Reach out to Troy in an email to get 25 leads free with your paid subscription. Send that email to troy@troyholdenvoices.com.
Need to talk about building your VO business? You can schedule time with Troy on his website in half-hour or full-hour sessions. There's even a free 15-minute consult available, all on the website at troyholdenvoices.com.
Thanks for being here, and join us again next week on the VO Life.